What is the deal, beautiful people? It's your boy Ramon, Lifestyles Defined. Let's talk about this interesting device from Kodak, the Kodak Ektra. I don't know what that word means. I barely know how to pronounce it, but whatever. There's been worse. I've heard worse names. So this device is something that definitely tugs at my heartstrings, especially when considering that I was a huge Lumia fanboy. Long live the Lumia 1020 with the big ass 41 megapixel camera on the back. This reminds me of that, but so much more. And not from a technical aspect, just from a conceptual space where you get into this conversation of camera first, but I want it to be a phone. Like, hey, what time is it? I don't know. Let me pull out my camera. Like, that's an interesting place to be. It's not an angle that many people attack the smartphone world from, and I think we should definitely see more of it. And I like to see Kodak in the way they're doing it. It's pretty dope. The Ektra itself, I would say it. If I had to say one bad thing about it, is that the specs are uninspiring. It is not a flagship device like I would have liked to see. So, for instance, this guy has a 5-inch display, and it's 1080p, and that's okay, right? Because for something like this, I would assume you want to save your battery life where you can to just take more pictures. But the problem with that is, well, if I have a phone that's all about taking pictures, I would want the highest resolution possible and the biggest display. So only 5 inches, maybe I would have liked to seen 5.5, 5.8, 6. You know, let's push the boundary there, some quad HD, sure. But it comes home with a Helio X20 deca-core processor. WTF, listen, that processor does not do anything to speed up the usability and the experience on this phone. It was a very lackluster experience, and it felt like Kodak made the conscious decision to keep the UI super stock to Android, but for some reason it just didn't feel like it paid off. Switching between apps felt slow, just doing normal things like browsing feeds. Didn't really have Android lag, but it didn't feel particularly snappy either. So maybe they can do some of those Android tricks and tweaks, like cut the frames between those animations that go in and out. Maybe they can do that to make the phone feel snappier. I don't know, but this processor doesn't feel like anything noteworthy. It does have 3 gigs of RAM. I'm not complaining there. Like I said, it wasn't particularly Android lag, so I know the RAM was still doing its job, but it is what it is. It's got a 3000 milliamp battery, and from my short testing, I can honestly say the phone felt fine. Even though I was putting it through a heavy use and recording a lot of images and stuff, the battery didn't seem really phased. So the real star here is obviously the camera, and I want to give a huge nod to Kodak for designing the phone around the ideology of the product. If you look to the front, it just looks like a regular, uninspiring Android phone, right? Nothing too fancy. You've got your back button, your home button, and your multitask button, and you see the 13 megapixel front-facing camera there. It's not ugly and it's not particularly beautiful. That's fine. But when you look to the back, things just sort of happen. It's got this really super dope leather back. It's got a chin that sort of reminds you of a camera grip, and then there's the super big lens element on the back, and even though it stands out quite a bit, it really is, I would say, attractive to look at. I don't see anything wrong with the design, especially when you accept what this thing is. It's a camera first, phone second, and I think they totally nailed it. On the right side, you've got your volume up, volume down buttons. You've got the power button. And then there's that super dope shutter button that has the Kodak logo, etched in. Super nice. It's a shutter. It's a 2-step shutter. So you can actually nail your focus and recompose. So that's That's dope, and that goes along with them really paying attention to what the product is for and giving you that dedicated camera button. I like that a lot. The camera itself at 21 megapixels with a f2.0 aperture, it gets to work. I can honestly say the images are pretty dope. They're very pleasing. I chose to do my testing with this phone in street photography at night, which is a particularly difficult thing to do, and I'll tell you, this camera did not fail. The images were quite pleasing. I will say the optical stabilization helped quite a bit, but there's some issues, like the phase detection autofocus. I find had some issues at night. It would do a lot of hunting if there wasn't a clearly lit subject to grab hold of. So that was a little frustrating, but other than that, there really isn't much to complain in the image quality department. Everything's super sharp. At 21 megapixels, there's tons of data to crop in and recompose and post. Another complaint I would have regarding the camera, though, is there's no option to shoot RAW, and I thought that was strange, and I dug through the menus and I really didn't see anything, and I couldn't figure out why they would leave out the option to shoot RAW on something like this. The camera modes are pretty dope. There's a lot of them. You've got your night photography, you've got your macro, there's even a portrait mode where it does this thing where you take one shot, then recompose and take another, and it gives you a blurred background effect. So that's cool. It's a panoramic stuff there. There's all of these different these filter modes there that really holds true to Kodak's old school film look, so that's cool as well. It does shoot 4K video footage. The video footage looked fine. I don't think it's anything noteworthy, but overall, with a phone like this, I think it's dope. I love to reward innovation. It just fell short of hitting that flagship for me. I wish they would have given it a decent processor. I guess this processor is decent. Something better, a little more RAM and a bigger display and some better resolution. But I get it. You know, had you done all of that, the phone would have now been something like $900 instead of what it is now. So I can live with that. I think it's a dope phone. I think it can be a replacement, and this is what Kodak is toting, right? It can be a replacement for someone who walks around with a point and shoot. I'll give you that. But my overall thoughts here is this phone doesn't land you in a better position than something like an iPhone or something like a Galaxy S7. So, even though technically I think the images are a little better, but the experience isn't really enhanced. It's just a dope novelty phone. And I think people who buy it will enjoy it, and people who are out there looking for new phones may not want to pull the trigger on something like this, but it's there. Hit the comments below. Let me know what you think about the Ektra. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Check out the links below. So much more going on in the Lifestyles Defined network. There's links to our other channels below, and we would love for you to check us out. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace. If I had to describe Lifestyles Defined, I would say it is a dream come true to have a platform where we can talk about the things that we love, and we can share with people who also love the things we love the way we love, and just have conversations that matter and go back and forth and grow as a community. It's been a pleasure. It's been a dream, and I just want to thank everyone that's involved for rocking out with us.